Is Pixel, and we are going to be doing the coloring of Hinata Hyuga. This is what we got done all in yesterday's stream, and hopefully, um, if he's still up to it, I'm gonna see if I can get into a party with someone. We can talk about whatever. But I don't think that's gonna happen since he's not picking up his phone. But anyway, we got all the outlines done, so it's really just time to fill it in. So first thing we're going to do is let's get over to our black concrete, and we're going to fill in 6 areas with black. I'm going to fill in this area with black, this area with black, that area with black, this area is black, that area with black, as well as, where is it? This area with black. So, let's get right into fill it in. So I have to register for classes at Nova, which is the college I'm going to, and it's kind of not working. And I can't log into Nova Connect, which allows you to register. And I cannot log in for some reason despite my username and password being correct. I just, for some reason, am not able to actually register. And the deadline for registering for classes is 2 days. And which means I'm kind of on a, need to figure out what's going on with that. I should probably get in contact with someone at like one of the staff at Nova and see what's going on, see if they can help me. But what else was I gonna say? But yeah, all in all, I'm just not able to actually register for classes at this moment. To figure out who my advisor is and talk to them about it. I have ideas. I want to do a drawing class, a language class. I was going to do Korean, but that was apparently not available at this moment because it's not giving me any class options for Korean. So I'm going with Japanese. And then I'm probably going to take a gen ed, like an English class. I've been trying for days to register for classes, but it just doesn't work. So, so I'm gonna try to get that figured out today, hopefully, and register today. Sorry, I'm kind of trying to multitask at trying to. I probably shouldn't be multitasking. I shouldn't be doing college stuff while also doing this. And I'm trying to multitask. Sorry. What am I gonna? I've lost track of what I was going to say. Don't think it's a good idea to be working on both college stuff and trying to show you guys how to fill in Hinata. That is if you are following along. Just how much for 3 or 14? Okay, it's not that much. I don't know why I decided to start with the black. I guess I just want to get rid of all the black in Hinata and get that over with first, instead of working on areas with little to no filling in, like as little filling in to do as possible. I do the other side too. So yeah, I'm going to see if I can figure out how to register for classes, talk to my advisor about that, and maybe she could help me, or he could help me out with classes. Because every time I try to log into Nova Connect, it tells me it's the wrong password, and it's really not. It's actually not the wrong password, and I'm putting my information incorrectly, so I don't know why it's not working. I really do not know what to talk about in these. A bunch of my friends are doing their own projects as I'm doing mine. I know my best friend is doing a baking thing. Another one of my classmates is doing a full-on cooking, like what my school likes to call a Maymester, where he basically teaches this middle school and whoever from the high school cooking stuff. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Yeah, I'm kind of excited for college, but at the same time, I'm also kind of not, because would be my first year come fall. I'll be a college freshie. otherwise known as freshmen. And it's gonna be weird. And most classes are being held virtually because of the state of the world. But at least we're getting somewhere. So, after this stream is over, I'm probably going to get in contact with my advisor and email them about registering for classes, and then I'm gonna go driving with my dad. So that is all the black done. So you can get rid of the black. Maybe I need all of these. I guess I am gonna need all of these blocks. It's like, I'm not gonna need all of these blocks. Why are they in my inventory? We're gonna switch over to the gray concrete. And there's only like few areas that get filled in with gray concrete. We're gonna fill in this area here. This area that comes here comes there. We're gonna fill in that area right there. We're also gonna fill in, you see these spaces underneath the headband but above the shirt? You're also gonna fill in those spaces. Oh, I'm gonna work with these tiny spaces here. With the gray concrete, all those get filled in with gray. So, Hinata is probably one of my more simple pixel arts I've done because a lot of mine require like a lot of detail or have a lot of detail. And those take me a lot. And because Hinata original conversion was not actually that difficult, it didn't have that much detail going on in it. Building her would take less time. Like I'm pretty sure the editing stream I did when I actually made her into this pixel format into a more, I don't know what you call this. Like I know it's called a pixel art, but like I don't know what it's called when you change it. Like when you, they're both called pixel arts. One is like a more simplified version, and one is the original piece before I edit it down to what I'm working on now. What's the word? Like a less of a mess type pixel art that isn't blocks all over the place. Kind of like the ones you see on like YouTube and stuff. Though there are some Minecraft pixel artists that, oh, there's only one that I know of that does tutorials on like more detailed ones, like those hyper realistic, like the ones you get on the normal conversion, not the normal, what am I talking about? Not normal conversions. Before you edit it, before you make it the face all one, solid block, and the shading's all one. And I'm using the face as a reference, and the eyes, however many colors. Like one of mine, Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen, his eyes are a mixed match of different blues and grays. So at that point, you kind of just have to accept that those eyes are going to be a mess. At least they're going to be less messy than they were before. But still, his eyes are so detailed. And I think he's the first one whose eyes are actually the most simple. Sorry, not the most simple, or the most detailed. No. Is that all gray? I think so. Yeah, there wasn't much gray in this pixel art. Hi, Levi. Yeah, that is all the gray, so we can get rid of that. And we can move on to our cyan terracotta. And I believe there's only one area. Actually, those multiple areas get filled in with cyan. Fill in this area over here with cyan. But you're also going to fill everything in the leaf logo that we built. It has like 5 million empty spaces with cyan. Oh. That's... Yeah. This does have a lot of tiny empty spaces. So hopefully you put that light gray concrete powder there in the last one. If that is if you are actually building this with me. If you're not and you're seeing this, well, kind of your loss, because these are awesome builds and I think you should have them in your world. I'm not saying you should build them. I'm not forcing you to build them. Oh, let's not build outside the outline. Oh. The areas are probably going to take the longest to fill in are probably her jacket, her face, and her hair, and her neck. Because that's where a majority of like one solid color is being filled in with. Like that's like her hair is mostly all blue terracotta, her jacket is mostly white, and those are large sections to fill in. And her face is mostly sand. Let's go. And that, I believe, is all the cyan terracotta. So if you're confused about what parts you filled in over here, it should look something like this. So we can now get rid of that. We're going to switch to our light gray concrete. So with the, actually, we're going to come back to the light gray, because there's a huge portion I get filled in with light gray. Like a lot of areas get filled in with light gray. So we're going to actually let's skip to the clay. So we're going to fill in from over here. We're going to fill in this section here with clay. We're going to fill in this area with clay. And you're also going to fill in parts of her eyes with clay. And all the areas inside, like you see these tiny spaces in her eyes next to the black outline of the pupil of her eyes? Those get filled in. Let me show you these areas. Everything on the outside. Like on, like, let me show you on one eye so you know what I'm talking about. Those spaces. Same thing with over here. Everything inside this black outline here, except for that area there, is clay. So, if that was at all confusing, you can see what I'm trying to talk about. It should look like this for the eyes. All the way down here. Don't fly over the pixel art. Just fill it in. I don't know why I decided to use clay for this part. I thought it was just maybe it was the best. It was the best color option, really. It's the first time I believe I'm actually using clay in pixel arts. But if it works, it works. I'm using it. Like, one of the harder things I have with editing is actually trying to figure out, well, when I first did it, I'm like, what colors look best with this? And I kind of just winged it. Because I did Mega Man as my first pixel art like years ago. I do have a picture on my phone. Probably from years ago though. And I kind of like estimated or guessed what blocks would match that the best. And it came out looking relatively okay. So that is all the clay. So not that much clay. Let's get rid of that. Oh, what block should we do now? Trying to figure out what we should do next. Let's do the snow. So there isn't that much areas get filled in with snow. There's only about 5 areas that get filled in with snow. You're gonna first fill in this area with snow, and then you're gonna come up to her eyes, and you're gonna fill in. Hold on, let me get up there. And you're going to fill in this area with snow, that area with snow, this area with snow, and that area with snow. I use snow for the whites of her eyes because it's the brightest white block there is. And it really pops. And if I use snow, if I use white concrete, it blends in too much with her actual eye color. It would. I just find white concrete and white wool look weird for the whites of her eyes. And plus, the whites of the eyes are usually brighter. I guess sometimes. I don't really know. I guess it stands out more. Levi, I only use snow for like highlight on. What is it he wears on his head? way down here. So yeah. If I need a bright area with snow, or I want to pop, I use, not with snow, with like a bright white, I use snow. Because it pops and it really stands out against white concrete. There's not much more white to go. That is all the snow done. I'm actually going to keep this snow because a lot of my pixel arts involve snow. So let's move on to I want to do areas that do not require as much filling in. Let's see. We could get the powder out of the way. The falling blocks out of the way. We could do that. But we could also just, actually not. Let's go to light gray concrete. With the light gray concrete, you want to fill in this space. You want to fill in this space here, and that thin space there. You also want to fill in everything inside this area here, including that tiny empty space there. You want to fill in this area. Coming over here to her jacket, you want to fill in everything. That space, that space, that single space, this space, this space, this space, along with this space, and those two tiny spaces up there with light gray concrete. And coming over here to this part of her jacket, you want to fill in that space. You want to fill in these tiny spaces, this space, and those two tiny spaces, as well as that Tetris space there. Come up here, you're going to fill in this space, and coming up even further, you're also going to fill in that space. So there is a lot of areas you can get filled in with light gray, which is why I didn't want to do it earlier. Oh, is it two spaces? I also want to fill in those two spaces. Actually, that's one space, so. I forgot that these two spaces are separated. Down here. Just fill out these spaces. Not make mistakes here. I do sometimes make like teeny little mistakes that are easier to catch. Some spaces are much smaller than everything else, so. Like, if you accidentally fill in something you're not supposed to, like, you can, if you know, like, if you accidentally go, like, there, if you know that that's supposed to be 3, or if it's supposed to be, when that's supposed to be 4, or whatever, you can easily make a mistake. Like, you can easily, like, fix it. But sometimes, like, if you know the outline is supposed to be like 5, 4, 10, you can fix it. But there are times where you might forget that that's supposed to be there and you just like one block off. Like if you do like that, it's not going to matter too much. But you do want to make sure you're staying relatively inside the outline. And I just did that to show you guys if that does happen, you don't have to restart everything. You don't have to rebuild that section to get it right. It does not matter. But sometimes one block can mess you up completely. Especially when doing like outer outlines, especially like doing like the black outlines. One block can mess you up, like really mess you up. So, but when it comes to filling in, it does not matter. Filling in is a different story because if you accidentally fill in, like obviously if you fill in something you're not supposed to in a certain block, you can relatively get rid of it, but you might have to reference back to the original video or whatever, or go back in the video and see what that area was supposed to be, like what the outline was meant to look like. That way you don't get rid of too much, or so I make mistakes on my own pixel arts. I make mistakes on following other people's tutorials on pixel art. It is okay to make mistakes. Just sometimes you have to know where you made a mistake, and if you made a mistake, catch it fast. Because if you don't catch a mistake, it can screw you over later. I was gonna say something else there, but trying to keep things family friendly. Which is why I kind of paused. Oh, that's not what I want to do. Like if you do what I just did there, if you do that, you know to get rid of the block. Let's come down here. Yeah, but as soon as this stream is over, I'm going to talk to my advisor about figuring out classes. And then like I like already know what I want to take and what I'm interested in. Because I have May 1st is my deadline for classes or registering. And that's in 2 days. So I need to figure out that fast. I think I got all my light gray figured out, did I? I think so. Yes. That is all the light gray finish. It took me a lot less time than I thought it would. Yeah, we are going to get rid of the light gray. Let's switch over to let's switch over to the concrete powder. Why not? So there are many, many areas to fill in with, like with the concrete powder. You want to fill in this joint section here. That's all one section. But you also want to fill in all of these sections here with light gray. So basically all these lines, like all these spaces here between that line and that black line there, and this area here gets filled in with. So it's easier saying fill in all these spaces from this area, from like this line to this line, and then saying like fill this space and then this space and then that space with like gray concrete powder. And I'm pretty sure I said this in a earlier stream, like a stream I did maybe last week, that I prefer concrete powder over wool because I find concrete and wool to be way too similar. Like even if it's changed slightly, like before now, like I just prefer powder, even though it falls. And sometimes wool is better in some cases, but I just prefer concrete powder over wool because I find it brings out the different shades much better than wool and concrete do. That's just my opinion. So I know there's a lot of people who use both concrete and wool. And whenever I see them at a distance, I just don't find any difference. It's like putting concrete, coal, and obsidian together. It all looks the same at a far distance. And I find that the same with concrete and wool. Whereas concrete and powder, in the powder variant, has a distinct difference. But if I really have to use wool, I'll use it. Okay, that space is also. We're almost done with these spaces here with powder. There are downsides to using concrete powder though, and that is if you accidentally place a block like here, it falls all the way to the ground and creates a shadow glitch or a light glitch or whatever it's called. And that just produces this weird line on your build. And it just makes your build look awful. Coming up here. See, that's what I mean. Like, place one block in the wrong space. You might have thought it gave you a bit of a shadow line there. Now, in order to get rid of it, you have to place the block either at where the source starts or anywhere above it. And that's probably the only downside to concrete powder and sand in general. The same goes for gravel, because other than those blocks, there is absolutely no gravity in Minecraft. Like, I could place bookshelves all I want and they wouldn't fall. But if I place concrete powder, unless it's over a torch, it falls. And that's probably one of the reasons I don't, that's like the only downside I find to concrete powder and any block that falls, basically. And yeah. Um, just fill this here. Here. So I don't remember what my first pixel art through Netlify was. I think it was. It wasn't. I thought. Well, I know that. I'm trying to figure out what my first pixel art that wasn't Mega Man was. Oh, sorry, yeah, I made through a editor, aka Netlify. I could probably go through my computer to find. Actually, I don't think my first one through Netlify was even one I saved. No, the first one I made through Netlify was Jimin from BTS. But what was my first one that I edited? The first one I actually like spent time editing and actually built that edited version. See, this is what I mean if you misplace a block with like a falling block or sometimes even normal blocks. It creates this weird line and that just doesn't look good. And to get rid of it, you can either place it at the source, like at the top block of the shadow, or you can place it at any block above it and it gets rid of it. I think my first one that I edited, like actually spent time editing the build, was, I don't think I actually saved it. I think the first one that I actually saved to my laptop was Miles Morales from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. But I don't actually remember. I could just go through my computer and look at all my schematic files and figure out from there, but I'm really not going to. I'm too lazy to do such a thing. Oh, I believe it was Miles. Because that is like one of my oldest ones that I did, that I made. A lot of my pixel arts that I do, I actually make for other people. Like Miles, I made that for someone else because they asked me to. I was being nice. Not that I usually not when it comes to other people. Is it just me or is that giving off look a little darker than areas over there? Maybe it's just me. But there, I did 2 Fallout Boys schematic too. But I did not save those schematics to my laptop. Though I didn't know about saving then. I just didn't want to save them because it's whatever. It's not really. So I wish I did because after I made it, like a few weeks after I made them, someone asked if I still had the schematics. Because they're probably asking for them. Like, a lot of the time, every time I ask for a schematic, someone in a Discord server I'm in, a new one that is, um, ask for the schematic to whatever I built. So they can build it themselves. So part of the reason I save schematics is because of like if I ever like if my computer crashes or Netlify crashes, I don't lose progress. Um what was I gonna say? I got distracted by something on my phone. Um get distracted easily. I do get distracted easily. Like unless it's something I really want to do, I could care less about it. But I don't know why I was looking at my phone. There's nothing on my phone. I don't get notifications from anybody. That is all the concrete powder. So we can, I guess we can just throw it to the ground. It's going to despawn anyway. Let's move on to, let's see. What's the next block that does not require a lot of filling in? I could do the white concrete, but there's a lot of areas I can fill in with black concrete. And I mean, like, 12 spaces that need to be filled in with white. And they're kind of big spaces. Like, you fill in the eyes with white, and you fill in this space is white, that space is white, all the space over here with white. And it's just a lot. I guess we could do white. Though when I fill in large spaces, I usually find myself having nothing to talk about or don't know what to talk about. Oh. And no one really wants to be watching a stream or a YouTube video even where no one is talking. Unless, of course, it's like maybe an art, like a drawing video or a time lapse or whatever. I don't do any of that, so it'd be boring if I just don't talk. Just fill it in with white. I initially wasn't going to do the white. Why is that every time I'm streaming when my friends gets online? Like, why is that? Like, it always happens when I'm streaming. Like, when I'm just playing normally, like, it never happens. But whenever I hop on a stream, it suddenly everyone is joining. Or suddenly everyone is online. I just don't get it. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I did not mean to go out one further than actual build. But yeah. college is going to be fun. I hope. Despite the fact that I don't like online classes. My sister is taking online classes, and some of her teachers like to record the lecture, and I hope they do it for Nova. Nova teachers do that too. Are they called teachers or are they called professors at a college level? I'm just going to call them teachers. They do teach. But what I'm saying is I hope they record the lectures too, as well as the actual Zoom call. Oh. Why do I always like place blocks like coming out of like that pops out like that? Like I always do that. And there's no real way to prevent it from happening. What was I gonna say? Like there's no real way to stop that from happening, except you being close to the area you're filling in, like right up against it, like right up here. Like at this point, I feel like if you're building here, you're too close. If you're building out here, you're too far, and you can make those tiny little things or mistakes or whatever they're called. Place those blocks like that. Um, uh, I'll come back to that section. I'll come back to that section. Sorry, I paused there. I'm talking to. I got a text message from someone. I'm not gonna say their name, but yes. Oh, keep doing that. Let me not do that. And just notice a second viewer. Hello. Person who has joined my stream. I'm not gonna say their name, but yes. Yeah. What was I talking about before I got the text message? I was talking about that. And how it's annoying. And I was talking about college stuff and how a lot of classes are online now. And not really many are in person due to the state of the world. And so do have half the vaccine too. The of what's it called? COVID-19. I have half of it. I'm getting, or will be getting the second dose eventually. Oh, okay. Before I was talking about that, I was talking about college stuff. I personally don't do well in online classes, simply because I don't like staying in front of a computer doing school stuff. Even when my school went online, I did not like it. I hated it. I do better in person than I do online. So, I wonder how that's gonna work with Nova. I hope they record the classes. Despite the fact that I stay in front of my laptop playing video games or playing Xbox in front of my TV for hours at a time, I don't like it when I have to actually do school from that same laptop. It's really annoying. It's just different when it's school stuff, like school in general versus video games and YouTube and whatever it is I do on on my laptop. Because if I don't like doing something, I get distracted or do something else, pretending to listen to what teachers are saying. Like, I can be paying attention, but I'm half paying attention because I'm wanting to do something else. Like, when my school went online during the month of January and February, I was doing something else while listening to the teacher. Though most of the time, it was somewhat interesting. I'm just making sure I don't cross over. Anything I'm not supposed to. Yeah. I have ADD, which is ADHD without the H. So it's what does ADHD stand for? Something deficit hyper disorder. Anything I'm not supposed to. Yeah. I have ADD, which is ADHD without attention deficit disorder. And ADHD is attention deficit hyperactive disorder. Hyperactivity disorder. Oh, I went past the outline. That's what happens when you multitask, especially because I'm holding my controller and trying to look up something. I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing on the screen. Come back all the way down here to finish these two sections. But yeah, so I kind of get distracted easily, but a lot of the time I'm actually interested in what I'm learning or interested in what my teachers are saying. But I do get distracted easily. And obviously, when I was younger, it was not that great. But now I try to actually pay attention to what things are saying, what people are saying, try not to get as distracted or want to actually. But despite that, I should not make an excuse for not paying attention. So I can't say the reason I'm not paying attention is because I have ADD or have ADHD. That's not an excuse. That's like saying that's like a girl saying the reason she's upset is because she's on her period. And that's not a valid excuse. Like, those are not excuses for not doing something or for acting a different way. So, I do try, but unless it's something I really like doing, I'm more bound to do something I'd much rather do and half pay attention to what's going on. But you can't exactly do that with college. Kind of want to be paying attention to everything that's going on, especially as a freshman or freshie. You kind of have to pay attention because you never know what stuff is going to be on an exam. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Where's the like gray concrete? There we go. Now we can just throw that out of my inventory. So. I'm trying to figure out what it is to talk about. I've talked about college stuff. Talked about going driving after this. Well, I have my permit. I didn't actually talk about driving. But I do have my permit and I am learning to drive. I have my permit. I can drive. I do wanna, though I am not exactly comfortable driving at like 35 yet. I think that is something I should work on at some point. That way I can start driving to friends' places or driving to anywhere in general. I've mostly been practicing driving in like parking lots. I don't think I mentioned you also want to fill in that tiny space there with white. So I've right now been practicing driving in parking lots. I was gonna say in or on a parking lot. I'm technically driving on a parking lot. But you ever notice that you guys drive on a parkway, but you park in a driveway? Like, Why? Just call your driveways your parkway. And call the parkways driveways. But no, no, you just had to call the road in front of your house a driveway. It's little things. Like, you drive on a parkway, but you park in a driveway. Seriously. We go, oh, yes, we do. Of course, we do. Oh, I need to be paying attention to my screen. Shower thoughts for you. I could make this whole segment just shower thoughts. That'd be perfect. And just say a bunch of weird shower thoughts. Like, like, um, I could just make this entire time just shower thoughts and just mess with your mind. Oh, went a little too far. Just mess with your mind the entire time and get you thinking about random things that people come up with in the shower. Like, I could do that, but like, I'm not going to just make my entire stream 112 of the greatest shower thoughts of all time. Love this. Like, I just find those like really interesting. Like, I don't really want to do that, but it's interesting. It's something you could talk about. Like, I don't really have any shower thoughts. I don't really come up with anything random on top of my head. But oh, let's go. I thought I placed the block in the wrong place for a second. Oh, like one of the things, like I'm just going scrolling through a bunch of shower thoughts, and one of the ones is like, you know how on theme parks, like roller coasters are sometimes cameras that catches pictures of you guys? Like they get clear shots, and you're going like 70 miles an hour, like maybe 50, and then you get like it's a perfect clear shot, but then CCTV footage of a guy standing still is blurrier. Like CCTV cameras compared to roller coaster cameras, like just get roller coaster cameras and replace the CCTV ones with those, and you get clear shots every time. No, I'm kidding. That's probably not how that works, but still, you can get clear shots going at 50 miles per hour, but you can't get a clear shot of someone standing completely still at bank through bank cameras and CCTV footage. Like, that's kind of mind blowing, the fact that roller coasters have better cameras than a bank camera. Like, how? How do you get a clear shot of you in a moving vehicle on a roller coaster? than you do when someone is standing completely still. That doesn't make any sense. You should blur your image. When you are in motion than you do when you're standing still. That's just a logic. Like that was just whoever came up with that shower thought is crazy. I wouldn't call them crazy, but the fact that they even managed to come up with something like that is amazing. Like, shower thoughts for days. Oh. What was I gonna say? Like, find it not only weird and crazy that people come up with such thoughts while they're showering, but the fact that they remember them to then post them on the internet. Because I feel like, how? Like, I say like a lot. Like, I always say, I just said it. Just said it. Again. What is my weird obsession with saying the word like? Like, I keep, like, what? See, there happens again. I'm done. I say like a lot, especially when like I'll say it like when it's needed. But see, I don't think saying like was needed there, but I just find it hilarious. I always say that to like continue a sentence or like to start a sentence. Like. I bet other